Hello friends, this is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. Trust me, you're gonna want to go out and get this exact yarn because it is so beautiful. Now that's it, just like a plug for the yarn. Caron Simply Soft by Yarnspirations. I get no plug from any of these yarn companies, but hey, maybe one day I will. But I am using several different colors, and I will have them all listed in the description box below, so please have a look there. But I love how this ear warmer turned out. I'm using my 40 Needle Sentro for this one because it is the perfect size, makes the perfect width. And I mentioned that a little later on too, for ear warmers and scarves. And this particular ear warmer is 5.5 inches wide, and it is 19 inches around, and that's unstretched. And so it's just the perfect size. In the video, I tell you how you can make it smaller or larger. I show you that once we finish getting it knit, and give you an easy way to change the size as for a bigger head or a smaller head. So be listening for that as well. All right, grab your yarn. Grab your machine. You don't have to use the 40 needle, but you can. I'll link it down below. I'll try to find a good price on it and link it below. So please have a look down there as well. And once you have that all figured out and everything set up, we're going to get going on this beautiful, beautiful ear warmer. It's my favorite one I've made so far. Hands down. All right, so I have my 40 Needle Sentro set up, and you guys, I truly love this machine. This little thing doesn't get used nearly enough, but I do use it a lot when the fall comes and winter comes, because it is the perfect width for ear warmers, for scarves, for small children beanies. It'll fit their the circumference of their head really nicely. Toddlers and babies, perfect. So if you don't got one of these, you're gonna need to get one. I'll post it in the link below. I'll try to look for the for a deal on it and find the cheapest one I can find, and I'll link it down below. But I am using these colors of yarn. You can see it is Yarnspirations Caron Simply Soft yarn. Works like a charm in my Addies, and I'm hoping that it does the same thing in my Sentro. I have designed out the row counts in my little cheat book here as I drew out the pattern, and we're going to begin. But I'm going to start with this one. I believe it's called Pistachio. We're going to start with that one. Put the other ones aside. So grab, if you want to follow the same kind of patterning, grab yourself 4 different colors of yarn. And I'm going to find the end for this one. There we go. And we're going to do the drawstring cast on. We're making an adult size ear warmer. I'm going to bring my last white and first black needle in line with my yarn feeder. I take a black permanent marker and mark that divider between the white and the black one. I think that I can't see those numbers, but I think this one's number 1 and that's the last one, but I like it to be the first one, just like it is on my Addi. So that's what I do. I ignore those numbers, and this last white one, first black one, are what I use. I'm going to take that yarn and I'm going to cast on with a drawstring cast on, going in front of that first black, behind and in front, alternating all the way around. I'm just letting it loosely slip through my fingers so that it's a looser cast on, so the first row doesn't struggle to knit properly, because there's no weight to help push it down. So we don't want a tight cast on. It's behind my last white, and I'm going to push it into there, make sure it goes down into that little nook. Now for my Addies, I always hold my yarn in my hand like this. I do for my Sentros most often as well, but I'm trying to make myself use the tensioners sometimes. Just of recent, I've tried to use the tensioners. And if I don't like it, I'll take it out. But I'm going to put it in the second tensioner right there. I wound my skeins into cakes. This is just the smaller one. I did a bigger one and a small one. And so I know that there's no knots or anything in there, so we should be good to go. And with this particular color, we are going to only knit 3 rows. I'm going to change my row counter to 0. I can link those down in the description box below. I move my magnet over to about needle 12 or so, and so it doesn't count the row until that magnet passes the counter that's here. And so if you're used to your Addies, it counts right away, but it'll get there. as we knit the row, and then tell us what row we're knitting on. So this is row 1. We're going to go slowly for the first row just because we want to make sure that those loops go down over the pink teeth. There's no weight to pull them down, so we need to go slowly to just give it that chance. This is where most people make their mistakes and have tucked stitches or dropped stitches, and they say, what is wrong with my machine? It's nothing. It's how you're doing it in most cases. I really believe that. This is row 2, so I'm going slow. And one more row, row 3. And I'm going to watch for that black divider to come around, and I know I'm at the end of the row. Right here, I'm going to line it up in front of my yarn guide. So there we go. We have our first color of 3 rows completed. I'm going to now take that yarn. I'm going to cut the tail. I'm going to pop that in between the last white and the first black. And I'm going to grab color B, which I'm going to use this orange color. I'll put the correct names down in the description box below, so please have a look there. And you know that I'm classic for doing jogless joins, which means that you would take your yarn, put it on this side of the needle, knit a few rows or a few needles, tighten your tension, then knit a few rows, and then tie this off so that when we're doing knitting in the circular, the next row always comes on top of the other one. And by doing a jogless join and pulling on those yarn tails, we can straighten it out and make it come in line. But we're not going to do that for this particular project. The reason being is because we'll just have our seam on the underside that goes against the head. So it really doesn't matter. If you want to do the jogless join, you can, but I don't feel for this project we need to. And so I'm going to hold those two. I'm going to knit 4 or 5 needles. I'm going to help these loops down underneath the divider. All the dividers that are on the right side of the yarn feeder, I always do that too. Then I'm going to grab both tails of my working yarn, pull it away from each other. You will have seen how that snugged up the tension there. So I don't have a loose tension at the beginning of my work. Now, because I'm not doing a jogless join, I'm going to tie these off right away. So 1 knot, 2 knots, cut that off. It's hard to do a jogless join when you only have small amounts of rows, and so that's why I'm choosing not to do it for this particular project. And we're going to go ahead and knit 4 rows of this color B. I always watch here, make sure those loops go down over those teeth, and if one looks like it's going to get stuck up on the needle, then you have time to get it down over before you continue on. If you're having a hard time keeping your centros stuck to the table, this is a plastic tray, and these suction cups stick beautifully to it. And then you can clamp down your tray if you need to. I don't find I need to with the 40 because it's not very heavy. It's not sliding around, so that's 3. I'm going to do 4. So I'm watching for that black divider to come around, and then I'll recap. So we started with color A. We did 3 rows. Now we've done 4 rows of color B. I'm going to cut my yarn tail. I am going to pop that into the center, and I'm going to take color A again. This will always be my middle color from my main color. So this is going to be the color that is consistent from start to finish of the project. So we're going to take that, and we are going to knit 3 rows with it. So knit a few needles, help that down, tighten your tension, tie off your join, cut it off. Now it's done, you don't have to worry about it. And we are going to knit 4 rows. Pardon me, let me just guess, what am I doing here? We're knitting 3 rows. Sorry, I had to look at my chart. And 2. And just a nice even speed, no need to hurry. You'll get a nicer tension and a nicer look if you just take your time. This is row 3. I'm watching for that black divider to come around, and there we go. All right, so I started 3 rows of color A, then I did 4 rows of color B, 3 rows of color A. I'm going to put color B back into my machine, so I'm going to cut that off. Pop that between the last white and the first black and take that orange color again. And we're going to knit 4 or 5 needles. We're going to help that down underneath the divider, pull away to tighten the tension. Then we can go ahead and tie this off. And then cut it a little bit shorter. We're going to knit 4 rows. And this is for row 14. Oops. Now my tray is sliding around. I lied to you, so I might have to clamp it down. There we go. So we've done 4 of orange, 3 of green, 4 of orange. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut that orange. Pop that tail between the last white and the first black, and then I'm taking my next color, which is this darker green. All right. So color C. Into the yarn guide, in between the last white, the first black. Hold both of those tails, knit 4 or 5 needles, help your loops down, fix your tension, tie your knot. We're going to knit 4 rows. So this is 1 and 2, or row 16. Sorry, row 17. I'm going to clamp it down. And row 18. We're going to go ahead, we're going to cut that yarn tail, pop it in the center between the last white and the first black, and we're going to choose our color A again, which is our light color. That's always going to be the striping in the middle. Knit 4 or 5 needles, fix your tension, tie your knot, cut it off, knit 3 rows. And 3. We're going to go ahead, cut that yarn tail, pop it into the center, grab our dark green, put that into the feet between the last white, the first black, knit 4 or 5 needles, help that tension, tie off a knot. You see the patterning. Knit 4 rows. So row 22, row 23, row 24, and row 25. There we go. We're going to now introduce another color. So we're going to cut our tail, pop that between the last white and the first black. We are going to take our yellow. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking I might even add another color at this point, but we'll see. We'll do the yellow first. Knit 4 or 5. Fix your tension. Tie a knot. These colors all look so gorgeous together. You're going to knit 4 rows. So that's 26, 27, 28. You see how I'm taking my time? I'm not like whizzing it like a crazy lady. And so my rows are going to come out great, and there's going to be no tuck stitches. except for now I have to count where I'm at. If you lose count, then look underneath the divider. I look across on the other side, but don't look where the teeth are here. Look under a divider and count the bars that are there, and you'll know how many rows you've done. I've done 3. We're going to do our 4th one. Cut that off, pop it between the last white and the first black. Grab this yarn that keeps wanting to get away on me. Take that first color again, the light green. I'm going to recap as soon as I finish this one color. I'm going to recap my color totals with you. We'll go over them. And knit 4 or 5, fix your tension, tie your knot, you're going to knit 3 rows. That's 30, 31, and 32. There we go. We have 3 rows of that light green. Let's introduce our yellow back into our machine. Knit 4 or 5, fix your tension, tie off, cut off, 4 rows. So that's 33, 34, 35, and one more, 36. I'm going to stop with the white and the black at the yarn feeder. I'm going to cut that yellow strand, pop it into the center, then I'm going to take color A, put it back in there. You know what? I'm going to wait until this color is done and then I will recap with you, because then we'll be done the first half. All right. So I'm going to pop that in there. I'm going to knit 4 or 5 rows. I'm going to fix my tension, tie that off. And friends, we are going to knit 9 rows. All right, so this is 37, 38. We're going to go till row 45. So you keep going till your counter says row 45. And that will happen once we knit 9 rows of color A. All right, so to recap, we started with color A and we did 3 rows. Then we put color B in there and we did 4 rows of color B, 3 rows of color A, 4 rows of color B. Then we introduced color C and we did 4 of C, 3 of A, 4 of C. Then we introduced color D and we did 4 of D, 3 of A, 4 of D. All right. Then we added color A again and we did 9 rows. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go backwards. All right. So you can stick with me and I'll do it with you, but we're just going to reverse this going from here back. So once your project starts to touch the table, I want you to pick it up and roll it into a donut so that the tension doesn't loosen and you risk dropping a loop. So when it gets longer, starts to touch the table, just keep rolling it up. So now we're going to leave this green one in there and we're going to knit 9 rows, taking us to row 54. Having reached row 54, we are going to roll this up a bit more. We are going to take color D, which for me is the yellow. We're going to pop that tail into the center of our last color. We're going to put our new color in. We're going to knit 4 or 5 needles. We're going to fix our tension, pull it away from each other. We're going to tie that off. We're going to knit 4 rows. and 4. Then you're going to add color A. You're going to knit 3 rows. Then you're going to add the yellow back in, which is color D, and knit 4 rows. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to knit 3 of color A and 4 of color D. All right, so I finished that. So I'm going to cut off my tail, and I'm going to now change to my color that came before the yellow, which is color C, because let's see here, A, B, C, which is color C. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my green in there. And you have the idea of what to do next. We're going to do 4 rows of this color, of color C. Then we're going to do 3 rows of color A, and then another 4 rows of color C. This one is 3 rows. The last one was 4 rows. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do 4 more rows of color C, which is the dark green. I'll see you when I'm finished the next 4 rows. All right, so we should have completed 76 rows up to this point. And we're going to now add color B. And we know that too by, if we go, we had dark green, yellow, yellow, dark green. So we just went backwards here. Yellow, dark green. And now after the dark green, we have the orange. Okay, so we did orange, dark green, yellow, yellow, dark green, orange. I'm going to do 4 orange. That's color B. Then I'm going to do 3 of color A and 4 of color B. So 4. Cut that off. Grab color A. I'm going to do 3 rows of color A, then I'm going to put the orange back in, and I'm going to do 4 rows, and I'll meet you back. Having completed that, I'm going to cut my yarn, pop that in the center between the last white and the first black, and I'm going to take color A and finish it off with 3 rows. That should take us to row 90. Now, if you want to make the same hat, or pardon me, ear warmer, that is a smaller version, I'm going to just knit my 3 rows here, and then I'll tell you what you do to adapt it to a smaller size. Or a bigger size if you need it. There we go, row 90. I'm going to cut off a tail that's long enough to go around my barrel 1.5 to 2 times. There we go. And we'll deal with that in just a second. But if you want to make this a different size, this is the section that you would add it. So this back section, this goes at the back of your neck. We know that we did 9 rows for to end the first half and 9 rows to start the next half. So what you do to one, you have to do to the other. So if you add 2 rows here, you have to add 2 rows there to make it come out the right way. All right. So if you just want to make it smaller, maybe you want to do 80 rows, then do 4 rows here and 4 rows here. Instead of 9 and 9, do 4 and 4, and that's a child size, which would fit a small child's head. So you can adjust it in this area here and it won't mess up the patterning. As long as what you do to the one side, you do to the other side. There we go. I'm going to take this out of the feeder, make sure it goes between the last white and the first black, because we still have to finish knitting these 2 needles right here. And now we are going to do the drawstring cast off. I'm going to take that yarn tail, I'm going to place it on my needle. My favorite needles are the metal wool needles. I have them in these silver ones, but I also have them in colored ones that you see me using on my channel. I'll link them down below as well. You're going to turn your handle, and that first needle, the black one, once it drops down, this loop is available to take off. You're going to go ahead and scoop it up. Rotate again till the next one drops down and pick it up. This yarn is very slippery, so you got to be very careful, and especially on the centros, because these little teeth here seem to me are a little bit shorter than on the Addi, so they pop off these needles very easily. So that's why when I'm using slippery yarn like this, I just do one at a time, because then the next needle is holding that. Okay, just like this. It's only 40 needles, so it goes fast, but you're not risking dropping a needle. I do it a little bit differently when I'm using yarn that doesn't slip off so easily. But this is a great way to make sure. And you're going to draw your needle through every loop. Oops. Thank you for not popping off. It's fun making ear warmers. I haven't made one for a long time. And I thought, I want to make another one. So here it is. Thanks for joining me, friends. Almost there. And we have it off. That one's split, so I'm gonna, there we go. I will remove my machine and I'll see you right back. We now have our project off the machine and we are going to unroll it and we are going to stretch it widthwise and lengthwise. That softens up your rows and just lines everything up and makes it beautiful. Here we go. Let's look where our joins are. Our joins are on the back. See, there they are. And you can see how we didn't do the jogless join, so there is an obvious change there, but that's going to be on the inside and this is going to be the front of your head. So, and that's the back. So you don't see any of it. And so it's beautiful. We're going to take one end and we're going to pull that yarn tail, tucking in any of those strands, smooth it out. Pull it out. I'm just going to cut it a little shorter to make it a bit easier to work with. And we're going to plop that onto our needle. And we're going to go around and we are going to reinforce that top row just by getting underneath that very top row of stitches all the way around. I love these colors so much. I can't give this one away. I have to keep this one because these colors are like so beautiful. Go ahead, tie a knot, and then push that knot down with your thumb, and you're going to tie another one, just like that, and you're going to leave that tail hanging. You're going to go to this side, and you're going to do the same thing. Easy peasy. All right, so I'm pulling that tight, smoothing out the end. I'm gonna just cut this a little bit so it's not quite so long. Don't cut it too short, but just so it's not quite so hard to work with. And you're gonna go ahead and pick up top row of loops to reinforce it. When you're using these needles, don't pull on the needle so that you put pressure on that little plastic loop. Hold the end of the yarn and pull it, and you're gonna save the life of your needles, and they'll last you a lot longer. And there we go. I'm gonna tie this one off as well. That's one. Push that knot down with my thumb. And two. And that's what we've got so far. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna quite simply just take these two tails. We're gonna bring them together, tie a knot, just like that. Then I'm going to put just the one side on. That was a basic join. Now we're going to join it better. I'm going to go into the top. So you see my circle is here. I'm just going to try to pick up the top edge there. Go through. Let's get that through. Just like that. Then I'm going to go across. I'm going to get that one out of the way. I'm going to go across into the center. Just pick up that top strand and pull it together just like that. I'm going to go back into that top edge just there into the center. So I'm just picking up that drawstring that we use to reinforce, really is all I'm doing. And I'm going to go back into the center on the other side and go underneath that drawstring that we, or that yarn that we reinforced it with. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to take this, pop it into the center and take it to the back. I'm going to turn this inside out, so to speak. I'm going to take this next one and I'm going to do the same thing but on this side. So I'm going to go into the top there, just pick up that yarn that we used to go around and come out through the center. Just like that. And then go over to the other side and do the same thing. Into the center and just pick up that yarn strand that you used to reinforce, pull that through, tie this off. I don't think you need to do this one in the back here twice, just do it once. Pull that tight, double knot it, put it back onto your needle, go in between the two layers, come out the side, where's my end? There it is, and cut it off, turn it the other way. Isn't that gorgeous, you guys? Now let me just show you the other side. That's the back. So this goes at the back of your neck. However, these really, you can wear them with this at the top of your head and that at the back too, and have two different looks. So this is more the orangey colors and this is the yellow, and that's at the front of your head. So either way. And another thing that I'm contemplating doing is popping a little button on there. I think that looks so pretty. And these metal wool needles are perfect for this job. I'm going to take it and put it onto my needle. I'm going to go in from the top down onto this wooden needle, bring it through. Then I'm going to go into the center, just like that, pull it through. I'm going to just get underneath a little bit of a couple strands there, because I'm going to come back up through that center. up through the center like that. Pull my needle through. And then I'm going to come from underneath up through that second hole, just like that. I'm going to cut these off a little bit shorter. We're going to take this, we're going to tie it, and we're going to tie it, and we are going to cut it. Then you're going to take your needle and you're going to open up the strands, just fray it a little bit. Just like that. And there you go. That looks like cat whiskers, so I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter. If you have cats, then you might, you know, you might want to keep it that way. But I'm going to cut it shorter. There we go. I don't want it to look like cat whiskers. Friends, what can I say? I love it. How many of you love autumn colors? Like, aren't they just so warm and inviting and you just want to put it on your head? So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I've had a blast making this thing. You know what, when I make something and it turns out as beautiful as I think this does, it makes me very excited. So I hope you're excited with your ear warmer. Thanks again for joining me. I love and appreciate you all. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that thumbs up. It means a lot to me. And take care. Have a blessed day. I'll see you in the next tutorial.